ever been moving so fast that you did not recognize that you were minutes or seconds away from wrecking everything that you've ever worked hard for? And I mean, that's your career, that's your life, that's your family, that's anything. Have you ever been in that position? Well, guess what? We're going to talk about that today, huh? Because I think we've all been there. As a matter of fact, I think from time to time, just to readjust us, we all kind of go through that, right? We're going to talk about Sha Carri Richardson. So you all, I'm pretty sure you've heard it in the headlines. If you have not, we'll go over it a little bit later just to give you a little bit of refreshment or a little bit of brush up. Sha Carri Richardson, one of the fastest ladies in the United States of America and abroad, if not the fastest. Now, what happens when you have that speed and you're on the road with that speed? But more than that, we're going to talk about something, because here at TCLN, we don't do gossip. What it's about is getting into the details of the situations that we see in our mainstream media and then saying, what leadership lessons can we pull from this so that we can be better, do better, and understand our world a little bit more as well as ourselves. By the end of this episode, you're going to understand why it is very important to have character no matter what. A reminder that success breeds jealousy. And these spiritual enemies who are grinning, honey, they are not playing. How great associations in your corner are excellent. But how those same great associations, if you're not careful, they can be your downfall. Last but not least, yes, we do need to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. Because after all, this is leadership. This channel is all about leadership. It's all about taking the news and the headlines and mainstream media and learning what we can do as individuals, leadership lessons to get better, be better, and become better. All that and more coming up right here on TCLN Network.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top, yeah. You know I'm always honest. There ain't no way I'm ever stopping till I'm on top, yeah.
Is used for commentary, analysis, and education under Section 107 of the Copyright Act.
You're flashing them to get out of your way, are you? Let's give you a path to get past them. See what you do. Passing a car at 101, 103, 104, and a gray Aston Martin unknown occupants. I would wipe that smile off your face. I'm Sergeant McDaniels with the Orange County Sheriff's Office. You're being stopped for dangerous excessive speeding.
I understand my tire at the back is like literally on 29.
So you're driving at 100. Hold on. You're driving at 104 miles an hour in a 65 mile an hour zone with subpar equipment, flashing people to get out of your lights, out of your lane, following too close, using every lane to pass everybody, cutting me off, passing a car on the inside shoulder with their hazard lights on. You're going to jail for dangerous excessive speeding.
I'm so sorry. I did not mean to do that. My phone, I didn't even know my car was speeding.
That's why they give you a speedometer.
I totally understand. I communicate with you, sir. I really do not want to go to jail.
No, most people don't, but you got to think about that before you do the speed. I need your license, your registration, and your insurance. You were speeding.
Sir, I was, and I totally didn't know. If you look at my phone, my buttons right here, they jump around. My phone is sitting here and it's slid on here. I literally see it's not even in normal mode. And I see that. My apologies, sir. Please, I communicate.
The mode has nothing to do with your gas pedal.
No.
I need your license, your registration, and your insurance.
Please, sir, I really want to work. Can you really work with me, sir? I promise you, I am a law-abiding citizen. I have my ID, my insurance is on my phone. There was no intention of me speeding today. I promise you, sir.
Is this a good address for you, Lake Valley Drive?
Yes, sir. I'm here. I'm local, sir. Please work with me. I promise you.
I don't know what work with you means.
Not work with me. I understand that. I will take the ticket. I will show it to
No,
court.
like I told you, you're going to
Sir,
jail.
Please don't allow me to go to jail. Please, sir. Please.
Listen to me.
Please, sir. I really.
It's nothing you say is going to change that. You are going to jail.
Sir, am I going to jail, Jake?
Yes.
Sir, I really was not meant to intentionally speeding at
That's
all.
even more scary.
Sir,
That means that you're doing
please.
things unintentionally on a
Sir,
task that
please,
requires
please,
all
sir.
your attention.
Sir, please, please, I'm begging you.
You are going to have a little bit of time to make some phone calls.
Sir,
You are going to
please,
jail. I am
sir.
towing your car.
Please, sir, don't take me to jail. I will do
Yes.
everything.
No.
I will do everything.
You have two options.
Listen. My tire, sir, please.
Listen, you have two options.
Please, sir.
The first option is you can either ride with me in my car.
Sir,
Damn, that's loud.
Sir,
The second option is you are going to go to jail in a cage car.
No,
Which do you
sir,
prefer?
no, I promise you, I don't want to go to jail. I'm right here. I have a team here. I have a coach, everything, sir. I was not intentionally doing anything, and I am.
You're not
sorry.
listening. You're repeating yourself and not listening.
I am
Nothing
listening.
you
I
say
wanna
is
go
going
with
to
you,
change.
sir. Sir, I want to.
All right, so make some phone calls. Let
Sir,
people
he's
know
right
that you're
there.
going to have a
Please.
$500
Carrie
bond.
Richardson. You saw it, you've seen it, all plastered across the headlines, arrested by the police officer for speeding over 100 miles per hour. And to be exact, 104. But let's talk about it, guys. Let's be honest with ourselves. When it comes to success, and I mean real success, and as you know, Sha Carri Richardson has real success. You know some of her downfalls. If you haven't, well, let me share some of them with you. So her success showed up early in her life. It wasn't just something she just stumbled upon, something she just happenstance. As a matter of fact, she's been working for this ever since she has been a child. And ever since she has been working toward this, she has had obstacle after obstacle, enemies after enemies on her tail, trying to stop her, block her, throw her out the game, right? One of those enemies, let's talk about it. So when her mother ended up passing away, of course, she started hitting what we call weed, the joint, you know what I'm saying? Marijuana, whichever you want to label it. And I remember hearing about that some time ago. And when I listened to that, I watched the whole entire people in the United States of America, except those who didn't. I watched them talk about her like a dog. I watched them put her down. I watched them call her a crackhead. I watched them say that's the only reason why she's running so fast. I mean, they had everything to say about this young lady. They had no grace for her. Now, mind you, if you know me, I don't do drugs. I'm not with the drugs. I don't do drugs. And I don't advocate for marijuana in the United States of America. And that's one of the reasons why, right? So they'll tell you, oh, we legalize it, but then it'll turn around and be used against you. In the Olympics, of course, they can't have any substances in their bloods. They get checked all the time. But it was a trick that happened, right? A very, very trick. This is what I mean by enemies. So she coming up for her goal. This is something she's been dreaming of, waiting on, and here she go at this Olympics. They get tested, and she has to sit out for 6 months, right? So that's what I mean by enemies on your tail. When you are coming into moments of success, you have to be very, very careful. And we're going to talk about that because I know everybody's looking at the arrest. I know everybody's saying, oh, that's her responsibility. Oh, don't take up for her. Oh, they just stars and they think they can get away with what they want to get away with. And y'all need to stop this. Well, we're going to talk about that too, right? So stay with me right here at TCLN Network. This is Leadership Clarity, not just judgment. And right here on TCLN, I like to educate to elevate. But let me stop for a moment before we get into today's topic and do a deep dive. I want to introduce to you my new TCLN Claritative Intensive. You see, a lot of us, we just kind of go through life, right? We go through life, we kind of stumble, And we have these dreams, we have these great ideas of having a business, of owning a company, a big company, small company, it doesn't matter. Or we have dreams of grandeur, of just taking these ideas and just catapulting them. But many times we don't know where to start, or if we know what to start, we don't have support. And if we don't have support, then we don't have the finances. And then sometimes it's just all of that. Not to mention, then you have all of the adversaries trying to tell you who you can be and who you cannot be. And so, with that being said, I want to share with you that I struggled many years going through that. I understood that I was made for more. I understood I had these big dreams, these big goals, but I really didn't understand how to make them happen. It held me back many years. And even when I began to see how to make them happen, I had to deal with, let me explain to you, like they said, new level, new devil, they're not lying. So then I had to deal with all kinds of obstacles and all kinds of things. But you know what I learned the most out of all of these situations, and not only building my platform of TCLN Network, but also the journey of entrepreneurship. You know what I really truly learned? I learned that clarity, focus, and not only that, having a solid plan that is unique to you. I'm not talking about any kind of plan. I'm not talking about a plan that somebody hands you. I'm not talking about you sit down and you write a couple of things down, or you use ChatGPT and you just think it's over. No, I'm talking about a plan that is so solid, that is so uniquely you for the next 90 days that can catapult you forward. If you're looking for something like that, make sure you check in the description below. Now, let's get over here and talk about this Miss Speedy Gonzalez and what we can learn from Sha Carri Richardson, because I guarantee you there's more under this story than the eye meets. Speed, support, and self-leadership. They all go hand in hand. But let's talk about this thing, right? So we've seen Sha Carri Richardson really take off in her career. We saw that when she raced up against the Jamaicans were a little bit of hooty against her because she kind of came in last, right? And it appeared that Sha Carri was on camera. It appeared she was bragging and being bodacious. But I looked at a young lady and I looked past all of that. And what I really saw is somebody who knew she had such great potential, but it didn't turn out the way that she hoped it would on that field. And you can see the nervousness. That's one thing about Sha Carri. When Sha Carri get into certain situations, you see that nervousness about her. You see that child come out of her. She goes, you know, you just see it. You saw it with the cop video. And you can see that theme throughout every time she gets in a tough situation, right? And then everybody goes back to gossiping. Everybody got something to say. But one thing we learned about her is that when she comes back so tough, and she comes back winning, right? And that is a trait that I would like to help you to understand, that if you're going to be a leader, you have to have that kind of trait. We get into these situations, all of us have different personalities. We have different mentalities. You understand that? And we get into these spots where we get tight. And many of us manifest that in many different ways. Sometimes that can appear to be pride. Sometimes it can appear to be fear. Sometimes it can appear to be laughter. And because remember when the cop said, wipe the smile off your face. Well, I've encountered that. I encountered it in corporate America. I'll never forget it. I was working for this company. I was working as assistant property manager. And I thought I was doing well amongst some people. You understand what I'm saying? I was getting raves about what they were saying about me. But I didn't know that they were talking behind my back. And I will never forget it. My desk was in the front. My manager's desk was in the back. But it was a brand new building and it was hollow. And you know what the CEO of the company said? Because the news media had came in, the guy who was over the project came in, and people were just kind of bragging. They was like, she kind of good, huh? And I guess word was kind of getting around, and people didn't like that. And you know what he had to say? And I was stunned. This is his exact words. He told my manager, wipe that smile off her face. So this is what I like to talk about today. When you start gaining success, people gonna look at this as, oh, she was going fast. She was just being disrespectful. She jumped into the cop. But it's way more to the story than what always meets the eye, okay? So let's jump into it. Let's get into a few facts, right? So as you know, she did plead not guilty, okay? I want to read you this headline, though. Like, people really just kind of don't pay attention. People are a little messy sometimes, right? So the headline says, Dallas Olympian Sha Carri Richardson pleads not guilty to speeding charge in Florida. Now, this young lady is an American Olympic champion. Why Dallas Olympian? You understand what I'm saying? Why just label her? I know she's from Dallas. You understand what I'm saying? But she's an American champion. Not just that, a worldwide champion at that. But it just goes to show you just how the headlines can tweak things a little bit, okay? Now, let's start with the beginning. Let's give you a little bit of facts. Like I said, there may be some of you guys that don't heard of this story, or maybe you just kind of heard it in the wings and you really don't know. So let's talk about it. Sha Carri Richardson, Olympic American track star, 25 years old, pulled over in Orange County, Florida, accused of dangerous, excessive speeding. Now, let me show you the difference between regular speeding and dangerous, excessive speeding. So there's a lot of car wrecks and things happen in Florida. Everybody knows that Florida has a bad rate when it comes to people speeding, when it comes to a lot of car wrecks. So they have two different laws, and they just put this into place. So you have a law as your regular speeding, and then you have another law that's treated as dangerous, excessive speeding. Those are two different laws. So let's just say you're traveling maybe 45 and a 35, right? That's just considered speeding. And so they'll stop you and they give you a ticket. Well, with dangerous, excessive speeding, that's considered, like they said, dangerous. So literally they put a law where they can take you to jail and write you these fines and do all this kind of stuff, right? So just so you guys would know the difference. So in this case, in a 65 mile per hour, she was going 104. They consider that dangerous speeding. So just so you guys will know. Body cam footage reportedly shows her apologizing, claiming that she didn't realize she was speeding, and saying that her phone had slipped, which didn't convince the officer at the scene. Of course, you can see the clip. And she is no stranger to headlines. Richardson missed the Tokyo Olympics after dropping suspension in 2021 and has previously faced legal issues. As you know, with the guy that she's actually dating, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but the guy she's actually dating, as you know, they got into a fight in the airport, and unfortunately, she got in trouble. They showed up and they called it that she was doing some type of assault. So those are kind of the things that she's had these run-ins with, right? So pay attention though. I did a little research. This is what I want to talk about. I did a little research because I understand from my own life and from other people's lives, when you're trying to achieve something, that's why I said the story always is deeper than what you think it is. When you're trying to achieve something, or when something is going on, there's always this fine line of a battle, right? Sometimes it could be you, sometimes it's others, sometimes it's a mixture, but at the end of the day, it's this fine line of this really great battle, right? So I did a little research and I said, well, each one of these things, from when she got the kick, got set aside of the Olympics with the marijuana, what was going on? Of course, she was going through something with her mother and other people, right? But it was right at the time. So the weed was going on before. This is why you got to be understanding about craftiness. You understand what I'm saying? But it was interfere with what? That Olympic thing that she'd been dreaming of. Number two, when she got arrested in the airport, and again, it has to do with right before she's about to get on the track, right before things about to happen. With this one right here, they were actually, you understand what I'm saying? That was in the airport. Both of them was headed towards this Olympic thing they've had to do. I don't have all the technical names for them, but And then this one right here, this is another one. I said, okay, so she's training for an upcoming event, right? All of this stuff. And I just noticed that I do understand that you have to take responsibility, but you have to look at things in a holistic way too and see what's really going on. Remember, when there is acceleration, there is also something trying to drag you back from that acceleration. And in between that, you have something to conquer. That's the leadership lesson, right? You have something to conquer. It's an understanding that you have a great position, a great call on your life, even if you haven't reached it yet. You have a great call on your life. You have a great talent, an anointing. Some people call it an anointing or whatever it is. And as you're rising, remember at the time Sha Carri was rising, she hadn't finally got there yet. Remember, she got beat out by the Jamaicans, all that kind of stuff. And she was very hurt. You can see it. And it came across as being prideful, and I'm a winner, and I'm a win, and and it came across like that. But I just really saw that was just the insecure part of her. She knew she had it. I didn't look at it as a negative. She knew she had it, but it was just you don't understand athletes and entrepreneurs. Some things can be so disappointing to them when things hit hard, right? And then the whole world is looking at you. The whole world is looking at you. And that's her first experience of that. The whole world got their eyes on you, looking at you come in last when you know you're a champion. Number one, that's embarrassing. Number two, it's a lot of emotions. And then what you don't understand is there are spiritual things behind that. There are literal people that are laughing, talking, energy that's coming towards you, that's making it feel even worse, you guys. Do you understand what I'm saying? So all of you guys who understand spiritual things, you understand that it's not just you. You understand? It's all the energy that's coming towards you. And you have to deal with that in the moment when a camera is all in your face. That's not easy, guys, especially when you're young and you're doing this thing, but it gets better and greater. You get comfortable with it, more comfortable, after you've done it many times. So that's the part a lot of people just don't understand. And then they were talking and gossiping and all that kind of stuff. Everybody had something to say. And Sha Carri Richardson said something that blew my mind. I said, that girl got it. You know what she said? She said, I'm not worried about the world. The world will praise you, and then the world will tear you down. She said, I learned that about the world. Because she had came back, right? Came back winning, came back everything. And they were interviewing her, right? So that what she had to say was just beautiful to me. It was just the correct words at the correct time. That was just so piercing, but yet so pure. Let's continue on. Now that's the facts, that's the data. So again, like I said, this conflict, guys, and this thing that people tend to miss. They tend to miss that as success, you have all kind of people around you. You have people that support you, because if you didn't get a chance to read that, or you didn't get a chance to know much more about what happened during this event, of course her boyfriend showed up. Her guy friend Coleman, the one that she got caught with at the airport and they were fighting or whatever, he showed up and he was trying to take up for her and fend up for her. And he wouldn't get back like they told him to. And they took him to jail too. And then her other friend showed up, which is Terry. So that's another one of the Track USA stars that she runs relay with and stuff like that. So they told Terry also, but Terry, she was there for a girl, but she just kind of stepped back, right? So they didn't really bother her as much. There's one thing I want to say about this situation, because we really do have to understand. So as you can see, it appears that she have this support system around her, right? What I want you to understand is that associations really do matter. Now, in her case with that circumstance, it appeared that her friends showed up for her, right? Who wouldn't want their friends to show up for them? If they on the side of the highway with a cop that's kind of like, you're going to jail. Who wouldn't want friends to be there, right? But what I wanted to talk about is not so much that part. You understand what I'm saying? You do have to be careful now, because all of them have careers. So all of them have something to learn. Terry have something to learn. Sha Carri has something to learn. And Coleman, which is her boyfriend. They all got something to learn, right? And that's their personal little clique. But I want to talk about the opposite side of that, because I think a lot of times we talk about the positives. Oh, you'll click with you. Oh, people are with you. But we don't really touch on when success is really going for you good and well, how you can appear to have cliques around you. And if you are not careful, those cliques could be the very thing that could be bringing you down. You understand what I'm saying? You have to be careful. Let's just say you're trying to be successful. Let's just say, in her case, she's already successful. But let's just say you want to have a business, or you're an entrepreneur. You really do have to recognize all of the associations that you're around. There are people that are in your life that will pretend and pretend and pretend. And because you're blinded by it all, you do not realize that could be the very thing that's dragging you down. Now, when you are at a level of success, you are dealing with a level of attacks. You understand what I'm saying? When you are trying to obtain success, you're still dealing with level of attack. And you have to understand and be aware there are many people around you. You can have family around you, you can have friends around you, but a lot of people are good at talking about people, friend, your family, your friends, your family, your friends. It's them, it's them. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the folks that you don't know. I want to talk about the people that watch you in the wing. I want to talk about the people, baby, that's always looking to take your spot. Now, Sha Carri Richardson is being praised as one of the most young ladies that's the fastest in the world, if not the fastest in the world. You don't think that that breeds a little something? You don't think? I mean, I know everybody think that no, we all got a camaraderie. Everybody, it don't work like that. You would wish that you don't work like it don't work like that. And you see that a lot in tennis. When you see Serena Williams play, when you see Coco play, when you see, is it Coco or Gogo or whatever her name is, when you see her play, like you see the anger, you see the frustration, you see like people like hating you for just winning. And you think it's all a sport and you think everybody getting along, but it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by, guys, like, to stay on, I can't judge in her situation because I don't know her and her friends like that. But I do know you have to be careful of the people around you. You keep getting in trouble with jail and certain people just around you, you have to be aware. You don't know who's doing what. You have to be aware. And you have to be aware also. People keep trying to tell you about your family, your family, your family, your family, your family all the time. But it's bigger than your family. The world is bigger than your family. There are people who are all in this world who are watching you, looking at you, privately, practicing all kind of hoo-hoo to try to make sure you don't become who you designed to be. So yes, associations is important. Yes, support is important, but you got to be aware because things can appear to be one way. And if there's a certain theme going on all the time, then you might want to do a little bit of prayer. You might want to say what's really going on and ask the Creator to open up your eyes, okay? Okay, you really do. You really do. Because sometimes we have people around us we think support us, and we don't know that they could be secretly wanting our downfall. And then you're not just dealing with that, you're dealing with other people in your arena, in your profession that you have to deal with. You also dealing with energies across, just in the world in general. Look at how many people. Let me give you an example. Look at how many people. Do you remember the young lady? What's the gymnast name? Her name, the black short gymnast. Oh my gosh. She's one of the most famous. But anyway, remember when she was talking about she had to take a mental break and she had to kind of pull out of sports? Y'all remember that? They talked about her like a dog. Hold up, I'm going to have to pull up her name. Y'all know she worthy for me to pull up her name. Simone Biles. You guys remember her? Y'all remember that was around about the same time that Sha Carri Richardson was going through also. I remember because I was in Chicago. And so that was about the same time that Sha Carri Richardson was going through with the weed thing. And then Simone Biles was pulling out of, she said, because she had to take a mental break. Now, when I say they stoned these two, people were gossiping and talking. For Simone Biles, hers was a little bit different. People called her weak and called her a liar. She was just scared, For Sha Carri Richardson, hers was different. Hers was different. To see people who look like her talking about her like a dog, that's a lot of negative energy. People think things are just talk. But things are, you can feel them, you can sense them, you can all of that. And all of that type of stuff in the atmosphere, all of that type of stuff in the media, everywhere, all this stuff, that is something that people deal with, right? We even deal with our own personal stuff in our lives too, right? With certain type of energy, certain type of people and all of that. And it just goes to show you just how fast people change. People are so two-faced, guys. 1 minute they act like they praising you, the next minute they are crucifying you. That's what people do, right?
Thank you for tuning in to TCLN Network, Austin Public. TCLN Network is independently produced by Abike Media Productions. To support TCLN Network financially, visit PayPal.me/TCLN bit.me/TCLN Network, also TCLN Channel Podcast. To learn more about TCLN Network, visit thecreativeleadershipnetwork.com and follow on all socials TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at Abike Media Works.